How are you feeling as we start the year off?
Well, I am a bit of an optimist, so I think everything is going to turn out wonderful. But yeah, there's going to be certainly some challenges, and I think times when the margins are tight and in downtrending markets, I think being proactive and having an actionable plan in place is going to be very important. I think this could be one of those years.
We're covering all sorts of things here to set the table for 2026, but I wanted to get you on because you certainly, you're looking at all sorts of different markets. You follow lots of different things out there, but when you look at your general sense or general feeling, for the next 12 months, like, have we turned a corner? Is it time to start feeling a bit more optimistic about our direction of commodity prices, or what's your feeling as we get going here this year?
Well, I think I think I'm hopeful more than anything. I don't really, we're still in the downtrending market. We're just coming off recent lows in canola and a lot of markets. So, I mean, anytime you're not making new lows, I guess that's a reason to have some sort of optimism. But this downtrend, in my opinion, as I define it, still continues, and we haven't had a retest of some critical. We haven't completed some chart patterns, which I consider part of every downtrend. So I really do think that the price starts rallying in any of these markets. We need to be very cautious and be proactive and take some sales when we can make them, because I just do not think this downturn is over. I think we have lower to go in pretty much every market that I look at. So,
yeah. All right. Well, you've said this, in the past, like rewarding a bear market rally. Markets don't go down in a straight line forever. You get opportunities where you get a balance in a rally. And do you feel that, for the 2026 year, as a grower in Western Canada, that you want to take advantage of these rallies, not sit on them, not necessarily stay patient, but execute?
Yeah, I think so. And have a plan, understand where these potential selling will take place on these rallies. So, try to maximize that the best you can. And we have, I talk about different techniques and different levels we look at, and I think we need to be cognizant of those. And, I think even approaching, marketing doesn't have to be binary. We don't have to make an all or none decision, right?
Yep.
We can, that laddering strategy that we talked about last fall, I guess, with canola, that proved to be, worked out well. You didn't catch maybe the high, but you certainly got to participate in the rally. And I think we need to have strategies like that going forward. So,
yeah. Well, what about from like a volatility perspective, or maybe not volatility, but even the range of trading within a price? Like, do you expect 2026 to be a very active year with large swings? And I don't know if this is a fair question to ask, but an active year, or do you expect it to be a little bit more docile or calm when you look at highs and lows of prices where they're maybe a little tighter than some of the past years?
Well, I mean, you take that rally from the fall of 2020 up till the high of 22, that was kind of vertical almost, right? And then, of course, it came down at a probably 45-degree angle or 50-degree angle. And it's been trading sideways. Like, I'm looking at canola, and that's probably representative of most of the crops.
Yep.
But, canola's kind of gone sideways for the last two years, right? So, I mean, so I would say in relative terms, it hasn't been volatile compared to the previous years, but, that volatility will pick up again, I'm sure. I just don't know whether this is this consolidation is a stage 1 accumulation or a part of a stage 3 distribution, or a continuation of the stage 4 decline. It's just tough to determine. But the volatility, when I say it hasn't been volatile, there's been like $200 swings in canola, right? But it's not like $500 moves, right? So it's I think with the way the world's going, with the trade disruptions, and if we're in World War III, if that's what's going on, then I think we can anticipate greater volatility going forward. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Like I don't know who can sit there and predict, what will happen with Greenland, if it will be sold to the US or not, or what will happen with that, or China and Taiwan, or even the US and Venezuela. There's a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, with that is uncertainty, and things can get kind of wonky or wild. But yet, I look at a chart and I go back a year or 2 years, and it just seems to be this slow decline overall. Regardless of what's happening, you still look at it from a bigger perspective. It's like, yeah, sideways, maybe to a slight decline. I don't know.
There's little reason to think the decline is over. And, talking canola, and, I think there could be some rallies, but anything on the longer time frame, I think it's going lower with today's information. So.
Well, our theme coming out of, when you come out of Moose Jaw, and we had presenters from the US and presenters from Western Canada, but, one of the themes was also, look at the globe in 2025, look at production too, and look at all the stuff that we grew. And even this morning, I'm just listening to the latest out of Brazil and Argentina, and, barring the weather the next few weeks here, again, a setup for a pretty strong production year. So, how are you going to get that money to come in to this market, to come and buy this market, get us excited about commodities and where they're going? And it's tough to do that when you're growing a lot of stuff, is it not?
Yeah. I think we need to hope for a sector rotation into commodities. Now, there's been signs, and a buddy of mine works in the stock market. We've been looking at a commodity boom coming, and the venture stock, TSX Venture, has really displayed that in the last 6-8 months. But so we might be seeing a shift into commodities, but a slow sector rotation back into commodities, which would be the fuel, the liquidity for a rally, and everything, I guess, right? So,
yep. All right. So, of course, as farms, we're buying inputs, or we got to plant these crops. When you look at the decline in price, when you turn your attention to crude oil or the energy markets, fertilizer markets, are you seeing anything different in those, where they are set up for rallies and gains and higher prices in 2026? Or do you find that we're all following the same trend? The output, the cereal, the oilseed, the specialty crop, that price is continuing to grind lower. Is it the same in energy and fertilizer? Yeah.
So down in Moose Jaw there, and had the opportunity to sit with that on your panel there, the question was posed then, and that hasn't changed. I still see oil going. I've had $45 for almost a year as a target, published that, but it hasn't been hit yet. I think it's there. I see people talking $30 now, $18. Like, they're always going to have the extremes, but if that's the case, then and there was a failed rally in USLD futures too, right? So they're coming off. So I don't think I'd be in a hurry to price diesel fuel. I kind of wait and see where this market goes lower. And if the thing is, if oil's dropping down, that's probably a good indication where the economy is going in the world. And it's probably doesn't mean well for any of the markets. Fertilizer, just looking at the urea futures chart. Again, it's thinly traded and everything, but it suggests to me that we're going to see lower urea prices. So,
I meant to post this question to the lunchbox earlier today, but I was curious about calendar year end, what would happen, and it looks like it was just super quiet. It looks like the retail sector didn't have the urgency to get those checks and those monies for year end, and the farmers didn't feel the urgency to write those checks. So I would need to double check that, but to me it was quite quiet for the calendar year end. And then just going back to fuel, we've seen some diesel offers out in that 90 cent level for summertime, summer product, I guess. And then also some other ones as low as 80 cents with some special terms on that one. I'd have to, if you're listening, you'd have to email me on that one because there's an explanation behind it that maybe we'll tackle in the next few months. But anyways, yeah, I got asked the question, like, do I buy at this value? And my answer was, I don't think so. I don't see any reason to jump up and spend that money today. So yeah. All right. Now, some of the outliers here, Trent, would be, what is happening in silver and gold. Like, does that lead to, or copper? Hasn't copper gone bonkers as well lately? I didn't look. I should have looked.
Yeah. Copper. Let me just pull it up here. Copper. Yeah, it's. Bonkers could be a good way to describe it. It's like making new monthly highs. I mean, that's a sign the economy's strong. So
that's what I was going to try to say. Like, is there anything on the metal side that we can look at and say there's optimism coming for the future? Because copper used to be Dave Ryman, one of the analysts I first kind of worked with. He'd call it Dr. Copper, and he'd be looking at copper to see, is this a leading indicator on better times ahead for wheat and canola? And anyways, yeah.
So maybe what's going on here is maybe we're seeing strength in the other markets around the world, namely maybe Japan might be. Their rates are going higher, so maybe I haven't looked into what their stock price is doing. Emerging markets are making new highs. Europe stock, basically, without getting into a real audit of it, basically, I think the United States stock market has underperformed most major stock markets in the world. So maybe this is Europe's and Asia starting to shine here, and maybe we're being left behind, and maybe that's what's driving the copper and copper prices. Maybe, I'm not sure. But.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd like for peace of mind to sit here and say, well, look at the copper chart, and then in 6 months see, hey, well, look, copper was showing us this in January. Now things are picking up on canola and peas and everything else. So yeah. Anything else, you wrote today about, was it farmland and gold ratios? Is there anything else that you want to share with listeners heading into 2026 here? Again, we're trying to set the table. We're trying to identify things to maybe focus on in 2026 or watch out for. Is there anything else we haven't covered that you want to shed some light on?
Well, I think there's going to be a real shift in the world financial credit situation. And I caught Robert Angelic's podcast today with Dan Aberhart.
Yep.
And that was really interesting. Robert's, he's got a really strong knowledge of the macroeconomics and financial credit systems.
Okay.
And his goal with this whole podcast, and he's been beating this drum for a while now, and he's been consistent with it, with me anyways, is worries about abilities of financial institutions to lend money, willingness and ability to lend money. And I think we're starting to see some tightening in some situations. And if there's a worldwide recession, as he anticipates there will be, then that'll be exasperated. So he's really encouraging people to talk to your experts, get a plan in place, manage, upcoming loans, get your ducks in order, talk the language that your bankers talk in. And I think that's going to be a very, very important, critical component coming in the next 24 months. So.
Interesting. For those that want to check it out, I'm just scrolling. That was a live recording from earlier today, so I don't see it out. I'm sure Dan's going to edit that for a few days, but Dan Aberhart with Growing the Future, that's where you can check out that interview or that recording again. I'm sure I think Dan was going to put that out. I didn't ask him, but I'm sure he will.
I understand he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So when you think of the way that Robert Angelic's looking at things, and then you take into respect your own research and what you're looking at, do you find that there's some a little bit of alignment in looking at the future? Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, like I'm an economist by schooling, right? Trained. So like what he's saying is, it's not all new to me. Like I understand it. I understand what he's saying. I can see what he's saying. I share those beliefs. He is very articulate, and he's got more hands-on experience and a great track record. So he's talking with bankers and lenders all the time. So he's got a really good insight into that financial world that I don't have. Right? So there's alignment. I mean, Robert doesn't, well, he agrees with technical analysis in the stock market and that, and how it can be effective, but yeah, it aligns with what I'm seeing on the charts and what I'm feeling. And I'm not seeing a bunch of red flags right now, but you can, they're there somewhere, right? So,
yeah, I think that may be a topic that we'll continue to talk about over the next few months. And I think that's a big one that I don't want to start unwrapping more today, because we do have a big show to kick off 2026. So we'll leave it at that, Trent. All right. So we were talking about inputs, fertilizer, diesel fuel, output. Is there any commodity or anything that stands out that could perform better in 2026 than some of its neighboring crop, if I could say that?
Well, I've been anticipating hard red spring wheat to rally.
Please, Trent, dial that up for me, because I need a wheat rally.
I've been I've been reading about that. So I think that's still that's still my belief at the moment, but the longer it takes to happen, the less conviction I have. So, but it's, I was seeing some signs that it just looks stronger than Chicago and a few other things, right? So we'll see if it happens or not. That's maybe the best thing I can see on my radar. Nothing else comes to mind at the moment, and that I don't anticipate that to be a game-changing rally either. So, but
it's such a snoozer of a market, like it's done stuff, but it's just in relative terms, it just hasn't done anything. And since the spring, like you got some action in the spring, got a little bit more exciting in the spring, but coming off those highs in June, it's been a tough 6 months for wheat. I've been trying to will it into rallying as well, but I've not had any success yet. So you never know.
Just looking at Kansas City too here. So maybe we're going to see some life in hard red in Kansas City. Actually, those charts aren't that horrible. Yeah. I mean, I would think if there's probably my best signs of hope would be, or any potential bullet. Most bearish crops would probably be, hard red winter or hard red spring. So.
Least bearish crops, is that how you said it?
Least bearish, but I think they're setting up for, I still think there's a potential for a rally in those two crops.
Yeah, I agree with you. Those charts are they're interesting right now, and fingers crossed here that we can light the fuse on those ones.
Yeah,
Trent, light the fuse. So
light the fuse.
All right, man. Well, I do appreciate you being on the show to kick off 2026. And all the best to you this year. And we'll have you on in short order. I can guarantee you that.
Well, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. Always look forward to the opportunity.
All right. Take care, man.
Take care.